Good afternoon, people. Apologies for the lateness. My fault. I'll take this. There's no cast to blame today, so I will take it on the chin. Decided to do a stream quite late. Kind of thought, you know what? We need to talk on this because it's been bugging me. And obviously, although we're doing the generic stuff, I am a City fan. And so I like to get some City stuff off my chest. Some things that I think are cooking away in the background. So I thought, you know what? Yeah, let's go live. Need to get a couple of my City people in the cut. Already see there's a few in the comments as well. If you're there, housekeeping. Firstly, make sure you smash that like straight away. If your thumb is not lit, then smash that. Yeah, it's just below us. I'm going to get through the comments briefly. I know you lot will keep each other entertained with your arguments and your beefs in the comments. I'm sure there's some Liverpool fans in here already screaming he's already signed a 10-year deal at Liverpool for 25 million. But City fans assemble and tell them what it is. So today I had to reach out, get some guests on. And there's one man that pretty much whenever you see me doing a City show on here, he's going to be by my side. My South Sam brother. Man like Mace. What are you saying, bro?
How you doing? Yeah, not bad, mate. You?
I'm good. I'm good.
Good.
I'm busy, but it is good. The transfer window is busy, so yeah, man. And it's keeping me busy till the season starts, which is getting closer.
Yeah, the sooner the better. Sooner the better, to be honest.
Trust me, bro. Trust me, 100%. But the transfer window, I'm enjoying the transfer window this time. Other years, I don't know. It frustrates me some years, but this year I'm enjoying the transfer window 100%. So yeah. So thanks for joining me. Now I'm just going to get through the comments real quick, and people remember, don't think I'm looking away at something else. I'm reading the comments because they're up here. I'll type Daniel, always in here. Bailey, I know you're gonna cannot see Jude to Man City. Well, guess what? We can't see Jude to Liverpool. So I'll type Eric, Leonard. Phil Foden. I mean, it's definitely not Phil Foden, but hold tight. Phil Foden. I'll take Keenan in here all the time now. Who else? We've got Ilias in here. I know Ilias thinks he's going Liverpool 100%. Ilias, thank you for not trolling me the last couple of days, by the way. Going off the thumbnail, just because they are friends don't mean anything. You know what? That is very true. And just because Jude Bellingham's family apparently support Liverpool, that don't mean shit neither. But we're going to get into the Jude Bellingham stuff. That can come later. We need to explain what's going on first. And like I said, I'm just looking through for anyone else that's in here. Give anyone else a shout because you lot are just going to go back and forth between each other. Hold tight, Zoab. City fan, I think Jude is going Paul. Okay, fair point. Anyone else need to big up before we get going on this? Yeah, you lot are just going back and forth and entertaining yourself. Hold tight, Marie. Love that. Tell everyone to smash the like buttons. 100%. Can't wait for the season to start. Yeah, 100% agreed. Right. So we are going to have hopefully two other people joining us very shortly. But firstly, when did we last speak? We probably last spoke about 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
We did the me, you, and Imran stream.
And yeah.
And I'd say since then, quite a lot has probably happened. I mean, straight away, you've had the Jesus. I mean, it's not even is he going to go? Isn't he going to go? I think we're
probably, that's done.
It's done. It's not. Yeah. It's not. It's not been confirmed, but he's gone.
The pictures come out. We all seen the pictures. It's just not come out in terms of publicly.
Did he have a medical on Friday?
Yeah, the pictures floated him around of him walking on the pitch with the number 9 top on. So
yeah, and backstage. So we know that's done. I think that's done.
Yeah.
The other one that we can kind of say we think is done, but hasn't been announced yet, is Calvin Phillips to City.
Yeah. Done, dusted.
Go on. Hold on.
You
what
already
was that
know.
face about?
You already know I'm happy.
I know, but the viewers don't.
Yeah, they come out. What was it? When we had a chat 2 weeks ago, certain someone else was saying, "Oh, I don't know," and then we seen your tweet of the numbers that come out, and then funnily enough, Mason seemed to have been right about it. But we move.
See when you say Were you pro? Were you pro him then?
Yeah, always. I said this for
Right,
ages.
okay.
I said the
why?
only one downside was his injuries, but will we take that risk with any player, I suppose?
So you're pro him, and predominantly why? Tell us why. What we
Just
can expect
I
from him.
just think obviously we've seen he's performed for England. I know his time's been cut short occasionally with Leeds when he's been injured, but we've seen him, similar sort of, is he a big fish, small pond at Leeds, the same as Grealish was at Villa. His numbers are there. We've seen the stats that come out that got put together, a table between him and Rodri. And Rodri had probably arguably the best season for us last season. One of our top three players.
Yeah. I've got actually on that quickly. Hold tight, double A locked in. I've got to big this guy up real quick. In fact, I'm just trying to think what platform I speak to him on, because he trolled me perfectly. I'm getting more and more people, right, that are just dropping me messages just to like get a reaction out of me. And then and the problem is I always give it, even if, like, I nearly did the other day. I had a City fan who and a Mank as well, who basically added me on Insta, was giving me compliments, voice note saying, love what you're doing. Then I just went back to him and said, here's some thoughts on you. I've been thinking, Mendy, when we had Mendy and we had Sane, Pep would never play them together. When we played Aguero and maybe Aguero and Jesus, he'd never play them two together. Why are we selling Sterling? Well, maybe because we're bringing in Cucurella. So we don't need a wide left to hold the width as much, right? The voice note I got back off of him, and I was on streams till I didn't listen to him later. He was going, Mende, why are you talking about our club and Mende? And basically telling me if next game he sees me at, he's gonna take my jaw off.
Jesus.
And saying, bro, he did. I think he heard Mendy and just forgot everything else I was saying, because it was like, all I was saying is Pep didn't like playing Mendy and Sane together. Then he started going on about, I noticed a southern twang in your accent. Well, it's not a southern twang. I sound southern, right? It's not like I'm kind of, oh, hold on, you're pronouncing certain words. I'm southern in it, yeah. No people outside of Manchester are allowed to support City, apparently. It doesn't make sense. Yeah. And I sat there, I started sending him a voice note going, listen, I'm sorry, my mum and dad moved down south when I was 15, right? I'm sorry. And he was going, you should have been at the club when we had no money. And I'm thinking, you know nothing about me, like. And I started sending a voice note back. Then I thought what Steve said. I thought, hold on. Why am I fucking responding to this? The guy's got 7 followers. I'm just going to block him and move on. But I was actually, this is how bad I get trolled. So this morning I had a Liverpool fan. I'm going to big him up because he does watch the show. Live and Learn B. That's all he's got is his Instagram. But basically, we were having a conversation about, he was saying Rodri Fabinho. Like, Fabinho's better than Rodri. And I was like, you know what? Over the last 5, yeah, but over the last 2, no, right?
No.
And then he was like, nah. I said, like, but surely that means that Fabinho is better. Rodri's just in better form. I said, well, in that case, like, if Rodri stays in form for 5 years, then Rodri's better, right? Because if you're good, you should be able to hold your form. And then I said, but we won't have that conversation, because the conversation is Fernandinho. If we're talking over 5, we talk Fernandinho and Fabinho, not Rodri, right? And then we could probably go the last 7 or 8. Yeah. So then, and he was like, are you joking? Are you joking? Fernandinho is not fit to lace Fabinho's boots. And at that point, and then he said Scott McTominay could sit in Man City's DM role and control a game. And at that point, I messaged him and said, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to leave it here. I should screenshot this and share it, but I like you, so I'm not going to. And then he sent a voice note back saying, mate, you just fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker. He was like, Fernandinho's fucking elite, bro. He goes, I'm completely just playing with you because I watch you in streams, and that's what you do with other people. So I just felt like you needed it a bit. But so with Calvin Phillips, I mean, I'll be honest. When you said a certain 2 people weren't too sure on it, I was one of them.
Mm-hmm. Right. No, it's.
Before we move on, I'm going to get the other 2 in, because before we move on, I want to get the other 2 guys in as well, because it's better. The more people we have in it, the more the chat works. So, firstly, right, and they're 2 guys from across the pond. and I think, but the reason I get them on, and these are two people that I'm advocates of, and I know some people in the YouTube world have this thing with Americans or Canadians or not like their opinion on football and whatever else. Listen, yeah, my opinion of the people I speak to through YouTube that are from across the pond is they're invested in football, and when they invest in football, like they fully invest, like more than I do, is in the tactics, the everything. So firstly, I'll bring in Gundolorian, who I have had on the show before. Gundolorian, what are you saying?
Hey, how are you, man? Good to be here.
I'm good, man. Long time no speak.
I missed you, man.
Missed you too. Were you there? And firstly, for anyone, here's another thing on Gundolorian. Gundolorian spends more coming to Manchester City games, and I live down south because listen, he flies across regularly to go to the games. Yeah, so I salute him for that. Did you come for the last game of the season?
No, I couldn't make it. I wanted to,
but
I couldn't make it. I couldn't get a ticket, man. I couldn't.
Bro, yeah. I mean, it wasn't cheap and it was hard, but we move.
Absolutely.
Right, and second guy who I actually watched on other streams for a while and thought, you know what, I like this guy's take. He's talking a lot of sense. I hope I'm going to announce you right. Vator, is that right? Vator? You're saying you're good. Do you two know each other? And where are you from?
Oh, yeah. We both work together on a lot of stuff. Vader.
Okay.
Hey, man. Good to see you.
Good
to see you. And whether you want to call me Vader or Vator, accent doesn't matter, man. It's still the same name. So
and it's here we go. Ilias is on the trolling already. Kevin De Bruyne is going to Liverpool. Brilliant, yeah. Has anyone seen the tweet, by the way, that's been circling around that apparently a fully fit party is levels above KDB? Have any of you seen that one?
I haven't seen it, and I'm glad I haven't.
Oh, absolutely brilliant. But yeah, right. So what we're just talking about, and people, we are going to come to the comments shortly, but we're trying to have a conversation. Switch to the comments, switch back, and whatever else. But please keep that like button coming. We're talking about Calvin Phillips first before we move on to the main topic, because I was wrong. And Mason was right, and I've been educated, and I'm starting to warm up to it that little bit more. Go on, Mason. So what is it that you?
Well, I've been saying for a while. I've said if we're gonna find a replacement for Fernandinho, because we all knew it wasn't just this year. We knew last year Fernandinho was potential. It's been floating around. It's been an average year. There's been a year here, year there. So we knew we were going to have to replace him at some point. So when we've got obviously Rodri, who arguably is going to play 95% of the games, we need to bring in someone that's proven, that's kind of thing, because you know my take on bringing these wonder kids from across here and everywhere that don't fit in. We buy them. Probably best example, we've had people like, Patrick Roberts, even extensive Ferran Torres. We buy these people.
Patrick Roberts, he don't get spoken on enough.
We don't, we buy these people who come in and we expect them to hit the ground running, when realistically we're buying them to back up our first 11 or stretch into first 11 plus, the 5 subs. Phillips, we've seen what he's done for England. We've seen what he's done for Leeds. Don't get me wrong. Someone will say when he plays because of his injury problems. We've seen what he can do. You've seen the numbers now. Pulling in someone like him for, what was it? 45, 50 million?
45, I think. Especially when, to put some context on that, how much Declan Rice is apparently valued at.
Exactly. We're not going to get English and Premier League tax. We all know what it's about.
Yeah.
Getting someone like him from another club, which, I know there's that bearer that we spoke about. If they got relegated, it would have been 25 million. But that just proves Premier League tax is a thing. If they got relegated, it was 25 million. Because they didn't, he's cost us 45, 50. It's one of them. I just think to have him as a backup, don't get me wrong, people jump on me and say, why do you want him as someone as a backup? If he wants to come and play as a backup, do you know what I mean? It's not, I don't see it as a problem.
Yeah. I mean, that was my issue. Yeah. And my issue was that I'm weary of when and it's not Calvin's fault. My issue is when you've got Rodri in a Pep Guardiola system, it's very hard to find anyone that I think is going to come in and challenge him for that role, right? Yeah. So it's not Calvin Phillips' fault, right? Fernandinho is gone. We have to replace Fernandinho. There was the other option would be, do we go with Lavia, who we'll move on to? But you know what? I feel like what's going on this summer, and we're definitely going to move on to this, is the people that deep down Pep isn't too sure on. We're changing. We're not loaning them out. We're not. It's like the ones, the Cole Palmers, the McAtees, they're staying. Yeah, they're staying, and they're probably going to get a bit more game Foden vibes. Be brought in like that. The ones that he's really not sure on and deep down probably going to struggle to break. We're doing something very clever with. We're selling them now, not loaning them out.
Yep.
We're selling them to a good level of a club to go to, but with that two all-important clauses: the buyback clause and the sell-on clause. Them two things make it all of a sudden that Manchester City's model is starting to, or academy is starting to reap the benefits. We're starting to get money out of it. We're starting to get that money which we need. But with the added thing that if he does succeed at Southampton, do you know what? We can get him back. So I think it's very clever. Guys, what are your thoughts on it? Vator first. Come to you.
I think the model is bang on to what you're talking about. It's been planned, it's been foreseen for a while, but the way the club, with even the City Football Group, with just how they moved, it's all about sustainability. And the fact that the academy kids, they're grown into their own. They've dominated the under 23s. They've shown that they can
under
play.
21s, under 19s, under 18s, under 16s.
Exactly. And I think because of that pipeline's looking good, right? This crop of 23, out for a second, guys. This crop of 23 is obviously moving on, and then the ones behind them are coming through. So I think it's smart business. It's also hedging our bets. So the players that I think Pep and the academy either sees, maybe attitude-wise, mentality-wise, it's not going to fit. It just doesn't work with what we got moving forward. We're selling them with the proper clauses. The ones that were like, hey, let's see a little more before we make our decision, we're putting them on loan. And it's good business all around. I'm not mad at it. I just want to see. I want to see it actually play out well, because right now, a lot is actually going out the doors. A lot's going out the doors.
Well,
right. Go on, Gundo.
Well, just two quick things. So, first of all, Calvin Phillips. So, I've been on Calvin Phillips's case for 4 years. When he was in the championship, I was watching him play under Bielsa, because we get everything over here. We get all the games. I mean, literally every game. And I kept saying, if anybody's going to replace Fernandinho, it has to be Calvin Phillips. It has to be. I got laughed at, scorned, ridiculed, and I said, I think we had a show in January where we said we think that Calvin Phillips will be the Fernandinho replacement. We bet on it, and here we are.
Was
today.
that you and Patrick?
Yeah, me, Patrick Bader, and
right.
We looked at the data, the stats, the numbers, and it was a perfect match at Fernandinho. This kid is a player. He's English. He can play. I'm excited about the prospect of him playing under Guardiola and learning. So to the guy over here, you're absolutely correct. Now with the kids, just think about this for one moment, right? So Vader and I live in North America, right? We get how these North Americans think. Think about Arsenal, Liverpool, United, and Chelsea, the owners, right? What do they like? They like money. They like to win, and they like money, and they like sustainability. Well, how many academy kids from Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, and United are getting sold to other clubs? For how much money? Barely any. Oh, and by the way, there's a club in Manchester in blue that have the best academy at the under 23, under 19, under 18, and under 10s, all the way through, winning everything, who are now selling their kids for profit and putting a buyback on them. You make money, the kids get development, and you can buy them back later on. I guarantee you this, the Americans that own those four clubs will be pissed. They will not be happy. They're going to ask the question, why can't you, Thomas Tuchel and Klopp and Ten Hag, do the same thing? Why can't you get these kids to be sold for money that we can make profit and also win stuff? So it's the perfect business model. You win on the pitch and you're winning off the pitch.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think that is very clear this summer, that the change. I do. The one important thing was for me was getting those clauses in, that if they do go, because now they're going to teams like Southampton. Listen, like Latvia's being tipped to go Southampton. I know the keeper. I'm not going to try and try and pronounce his name because I will slaughter it.
Bazunu?
Yeah, I'd definitely slaughter that, bro, 100%.
Oh,
Unless it's like Gaz or John, I'm going to slaughter it. Either of them have a good spell there, and it's Premier League now. This is the thing. We're not loaning them out to Championship, First Division. It's Premier League. They have a good spell there. The buyback, and also that even if it isn't the buyback, the sell-on is important as well because that's bringing more money in. And for me, I don't want to move on to it just yet.
Just think about this from a business perspective. Just let's break this down, right? So we have a kid in the academy we got for peanuts. We're grooming the academy to the point where he's now wanted by Southampton. He goes to Southampton, Lavia, for £14 million. So Southampton gives us 14 million for the kid that was in our academy. Pure profit.
Yeah.
But then if he does well and they're training and he gets exposure and he's playing Premier League games and he does well, we can buy him back for a fee, which is reasonable down the line. With all the training, all the development, all the experience he's going to gain. You can't buy that. I mean, the business model is smart. No surprise that Enzo Maresca is now Pep's assistant, by the way, who was the guy who actually ran the academy team 2 years ago before he left for Italy. He's back.
Yeah. That was because his right hand's gone, so he's pulled him back, isn't he?
Yeah, he's back.
Yeah.
This guy knows a lot. He knows McAtee. He knows all these. He knows Palmer. He knows all these kids in and out. He's been with them for years.
Yeah.
I also have another take on it too, because with the amount of players that we're loaning out, right? Have you guys seen the movie Salt with Angelina Jolie?
No, but I'll watch it now. You told me she's in it. No problem.
All right. So there's a movie Salt, and then you guys have maybe seen Black Panther as well. But they have spies all over the place. They have spies that they're not activated yet. And the fact that we have players all over the place that, one, now when we play against those teams, if they happen to be stars, they're not playing against us. We've seen that happen with Crystal Palace last year. And also when it is time to bring them back, we've got some intelligence, we got some reconnaissance that we are able to bring back. So I love how the city army is expanding. I love it.
Yeah, I do. I really do. It was funny last night. I was on Grizz's channel, and it was really, really good. It was a phone in, and it was myself, Cass, hold tight Cass in the my main co-host, and Grizz Grizz and another Liverpool fan, and
it was 3-on-1.
Really good. No, Cass is Man United, although he was moving a bit Liverpool-y, to be fair, and his favourite player of all time is Steven Gerrard. So, I mean, you could say it's 3-on-1. But something, it was a really good chat, all agreement. But and this is the thing, sometimes when I was singing Liverpool's praises, which I will do, right? I hate them. I was making it very clear, I hate them more than Man United. But I will sing their praises because I'm in a very confident place with my club that it's fine. I can say Liverpool are a very good club. I can say Trent's a very good defender. Trent is a very good player. Let me say.
Yeah.
I can talk about all the great stuff. And it's fine because we should be able to do that. But then they were praising how City was run, but then said, and Liverpool is run better. And at that point, the whole conversation changed because I was like, no, hold on. Why has this become a competition, firstly? But secondly, Grizz was trying to kind of say, oh, no, because you had to spend money to get where you got. I said, well, yeah, because we were a cafe and we had McDonald's, Burger King and Subway next to us, right?
Thank you.
In business, the first thing you have to do is invest money. I said, Grizz, you know that. And he was like, yeah. But then later on was like, so are you trying to deny that you had a big investment? I said, no, I said at the beginning we did. I said, but whereas your advantage was you were further forward than us. Our advantage was we had more money. That doesn't mean either are run better. I have my opinion, but you know what? I wasn't there for that argument. But You said better, right? And that's where my gripe is. Why is it turning into a competition? Now, the other Liverpool fan then kicked in with that because we're changing our model. So when we first got money, we were buying Rubinho, we were buying Adebayor, Santa Cruz, spend a lot of money. Obviously, we have changed that and we've worked hard to change that. Apparently now, that's us copying Liverpool.
No,
And I was like,
so this is the problem. Problem here. Let me explain that.
If you kept your cool, during that conversation, kudos to you.
I didn't really.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I did. For me, I definitely kept my cool. But
the problem here is one of education. Is people don't understand how businesses grow. Right. There are two models of growth. There's organic and inorganic. Right. If you're a new startup, you need to have inorganic growth, which means you have to have investment that gets you stable. Once you're stable, then it becomes organic. It's how businesses run. So the problem is one of education for the Liverpool fans who don't understand that that's how businesses run. When Liverpool started off in the 80s and were dominated, they also had investment. United had money. They had the most money. Then it became organic. It's a natural progression. And we're doing the same thing as well. Newcastle will do the same thing as well.
Yeah,
right? So
it was just a very interesting conversation, and it was kind of the reason why it was frustrating is because it had been a really good conversation, and then it was just that, but we run better, and it was like, and then he was like, no, but I'm trying to say we both run really well. I was like, I'm hearing all of that, but don't act like you didn't say the word better. You did. Oh, no, smarter. Actually, it was smarter. And then when the other one said we were copying Liverpool because Liverpool don't always go out and buy the big commercial, I was like, well, in that case, you could say we're copying West Ham. We're copying. You could say any club ultimately that doesn't have that much money. We're copying because we're not buying. Like it doesn't mean. And Liverpool, it's just. Go on,
it's a big thing with Liverpool. Not necessarily the business model of Liverpool, but we've seen it over the years. It's just recently happened with Sadio Mane. If that's a massive business plan of what we'll do, we'll get these great players, we'll keep getting them in. It's happened with Suarez, it's happened with Torres, it's happened with a few of them where these big players then start asking for more wages, more money, better deals, better contracts. Liverpool's ideal business plan for that is, no, we'll sell you. And then we'll use all this money that we gain off these big transfers to bring in another player that'll be unhappy 4 or 5 years down the line because we don't want to give you a better contract. It's not good business. All that is for Liverpool is the fact, in the 80s, early 90s, they were unbelievable. They were smashing it. That's why in this day and age, they win the odd trophy. Don't get me wrong. I know they're going to say we've won the Champions League and the Premier League and the past thingy, but this is the issue. They'll bring in these massive players that they've made grow, like Sadio Mane's, or they'll bring in, they'll have a Torres, for example. And then when this player starts getting a bit ruffled and wants to leave, because they're not giving him as much money as, say, for example, Sadio Mane with Salah, Liverpool's great business plan is, but we won't give you more money. What we'll do, we'll just let you go. We'll earn a load of money off a transfer, and then we'll start again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, and this is the thing, I was talking this all the time from the IT hardware world that I come from. It's all about sweating your assets, and I think City do that. We buy predominantly, and again, we're seeing it different this year, but it's helping us this year in the transfer window that you have 3 kind of options if you let people get down to their last year of their contracts. You either give them whatever the hell they want to secure your asset, because it's like otherwise your asset that was worth 100 million, you get 0 for. So I think that might be what PSG maybe have done with Mbappe. You know what? We don't want to lose 200 million. We'll give him whatever the hell he wants and sell him in a year's time and recoup some of that money. That's the first option. The second option is you think, you know what? And this is what City have been doing is when they buy players, I feel like we're buying a player that we believe when they get to this club, they will love this club. We will do everything for them if they are good enough. And I think companies spoke on this. We will do everything for that person. We will give them every tool, the right salary, the right respect, as long as they're performing. And we want them to stay for 10 years. And we hope they stay for 10 years. And at 10 years, do you know what? We'll say, go for free because we've got every penny of value out of you. We've sweated our asset. We've wrote it off the books. The financial side has wrote it off the books. Now you can spread your wings and fly. And that's what we've done with so many of our legends. You go and get that one big payday elsewhere because that's the respect we're giving you now. You're giving us that respect. And I think we do that really well. Now, what's happened this year, and this is where I think we've been in a good thing with Jesus and Sterling, is that it's got to a point now where we have got value out of both of them, right?
100%.
We could keep them and potentially with Sterling in particular, get some more value out of him playing alongside Haaland, maybe, right? So we don't need to sell either of them. they've got a year left on their contract, but we've been able to go into the transfer market and go, well, you know what? Conveniently, there's a lot of you lot that need players like these two. And you know what? We're happy to keep them. But if you want them, this is what we want. We want to actually recoup. And all of a sudden, these assets that we've written off on the books, all of a sudden we're getting money for. We're making profit. So to the financial lot, it's like, oh, well, our books, we wrote that off, but we're now getting some money for that. Same with Ake. When I saw Ake 40 million, I was like, oh, that don't make sense.
Yeah.
I don't really get it.
Yeah.
The only thing I was thinking is maybe Pep has tried it, doesn't work. Do you know what? Let's just cut our loss, no profit made. But then I heard that we've gone back and gone, and my issue with that is the only move that I felt wasn't planned, and I don't really like dipping your toe in that centre-back market unless you've really done your research, yeah? But I feel like that is what they've done is, again, they've gone, well, if you want him, 55, 60 million, because you need a centre-back. We don't need to sell him. So I don't think that one will happen because I don't think Chelsea will pay what City want, ultimately. But go on, Mace, what were you going to say? Go on, Mace.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I do think you've just mentioned it about dipping your toe in the centre-back sort of pool. It isn't a pool you want to dip your toe in. We've been stung in the past with players in that role. It's very, very controversial thing to say. I do think the way City are at the moment and this thing where we want to, and predominantly a lot of us want to win the Champions League, we want to like get onto that next step of what Pep may be doing, and that may be, the overall topic you're talking about. Are we changing the way we do things at our club by selling these players? I think it's going to come down to a thing of what Pep, when he first come into the club, is if this player doesn't work out and then someone wants to come in and pay all this money, let it happen. And I know I've just mentioned about the Ake situation. If Chelsea want to come in and spend this much money on Ake, and we have got a line up with someone that can come in and it is an easy transfer, do it. Like that may, not everyone may agree with that, but we've done this thing for years and years and years where United are currently going through it at the moment where you wait for this one big player, or Frankie de Jong, for example, for majority of the transfer window, and then all of a sudden, the last minute, you're like, oh shit, we've not actually gone and got someone else. Whereas we've done that the flip side this year, where we've bought all the players we need, your Haaland, Alvarez, all these, obviously Phillips if it gets announced. This is where we're now in a situation, as you said, where Jesus, Arsenal come knocking, we could keep him, or you give us the 45 million we've asked for, he can go because we've got a replacement. I do think Ake is the only. I wouldn't be mad if he left. I wouldn't, as long as we do have backup, and that's the main thing we need.
Gundo, what's your Gundo? I'm going to ask you this, because I know one of your qualities is that you like to go and see what's out there, and that's one of my worries is that position's a hard one. Initially, I did think. And Bete's just been given a 5-year contract, but I don't think Pep would go into a season with the players that we brought in and be thinking, you know what, I'm going to have. If we were to, now here's the thing. There is someone in my mind that I've been speaking on yesterday, but I've been told it'll cost quite a lot of money. I think if Ake was to go, it wouldn't be for 40 million. It would be 50 plus, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's out there?
There are a couple of people out there, man. I don't think Ake is going to go, but if it does go for 50 million, and think about how much money we made so far, you have a couple of options. You have which is
a good point. Yeah, very good point.
You have De Ligt, right, of Juventus, who is itching to play under, Guardiola kind of football. You have Pau Torres, who can also slot in and play that same left-sided centre-back role if you want to. Those are the two that I think that can play and come easily. From England, I keep thinking, who from England can
I've
play?
got one.
Yeah.
Right. So firstly, the two that you've just said, I'm a big advocate of Premier League experience in defenders, massive advocate of it. I mean, even to the point where I think when we were doing the Koulibaly, and ended up settling at Diaz, I was slightly worried and going, do you know what? Especially when it was Diaz, because I was thinking last guy from that league was Mangala. I don't want one of them, right? So I was worried. I'll be honest. Listen, this is the first transfer window I'm happy. Usually I'm throwing my shit out the pram. Someone's just said it, and that might have been because he was watching stream yesterday. So that is a risk with any player coming from another league to this league is a risk. But there's a player in this league. There is a risk that he's young and that he's just had a big injury.
Oh yeah, I like him.
He's young. Mason doesn't. And I did hear that to get him, you're looking at probably
You've got to be looking
70, 80 million. And
what's his contract like? What's his contract like?
Pass on his contract, but someone said Leicester. Oh, so I did a stream yesterday with Reedy, Hold Tight Reedy, who's a Leicester fan, works for Leicester City TV, I think, and he was saying 80 million. And you know what? The thing is with Leicester, you can't say.
Yeah, I don't see it happening.
You can't say they wouldn't want to hold out for that because of the fact that Maguire was older and they got 70. So moving forward, they might try and hold out. It does sound a lot.
I think that's gone. I think that one's out of the water. And don't get me wrong, he's a good player, and I know the injury knocked him back start of the season. But if you're gonna, it's the same. It's the same what you mentioned then about De Ligt. I think we're going to get priced out of him, and I know it's the money we've made and all this, and we can go and throw this money at one big player. I think someone like De Ligt, Fofana, there was rumours circulating this morning about Kimpembe from PSG as well.
No way.
Not to sit here on about being on the transfer list.
Yeah, no way.
These kind of players, they're going to be too dear. They're too expensive. I know you mentioned Pau Torres, but do you not feel like we have a Pau Torres in the port?
Yeah, we do, but it's cover, right? It's a cover, right? If
that's Fofana because of his age. Would he be okay with cover?
I don't think Akin's going to go. He's not. I don't think.
By the way,
I don't think so
let
either.
me be clear. Neither do I. I don't think they're going to pay the money.
But if he was good to go, you need cover for Laporte. Pau Torres, left-footed, can play left centre back, can play left wing, left back. He could be the option. I heard Cucurella can play left back too and left centre back too.
But here's the thing, right? And this is where
he's too creative, I think. Him.
Yeah. Sorry. Just. I'm not going to put a comment up. I want to big him up firstly. I want to big up Chris Oscar as far as Man City fan for 50 years. Lived in a street called Tommy Browell, close of Main Road. Used to mine cars. Used to mine foreigners' cars. Right. Used to mine cars. Firstly. And I appreciate that. I always remember going with my dad, and my dad used to give. Maybe even yourself, but I think you would have been too old then. They were probably they used to give him this was at Main Road, £1, and then be like, they won't be here when I get back, but that £1 makes sure that my car doesn't get keyed, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I know what you're talking about, and there's actually a really good book by one of, I think it's a Young Governor's book where they talk about that. Just want to say your view on foreign supporters not knowing our club. I have to firstly I will defend any football fan. Secondly, as someone that is seen, and we spoke about this before, as someone that's seen as a southerner, I've been told that I shouldn't support City, even though I grew up in Manchester and had a season ticket Main Road, but because I had an accent. And I've seen that with all other clubs, right? Now I'm seeing it, beginning to see it on our club, and I don't like it because we need to it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter who said it. And I want to big him up for being a City fan for 50 years and staying loyal to the club. Massive support, massive love for that. But we have to. And do you know what? I even get it, right? I get it. I get these plastic fans, and that doesn't mean foreign. They might live in Manchester and have decided to jump clubs, right? That have supported City for 2 minutes, don't really invest in them as far as watching the games, buying the merchandise because it's relevant, whatever, right? You can't just say you can only support a club if you come from this place, because you know what? If we go with that, our club will never grow, right?
Well, here's the reality. Here's the reality, right? When 2022, the game has changed, right? So why did the Premier League make so much money during COVID? How many fans were in the stadium? None. Yeah. Okay, so during COVID, you had no fans in the stadium, yet City made the most profit of all the clubs. Why? Because of TV rights. And where's the TV rights money coming from? From overseas. Now, I'm not discounting local fans. They're fantastic. They should be there. But the game has changed. You think that going to the stadium every single week is going to bring De Bruyne and Mahrez and Gundogan and Haaland to the stadium, and you pay their wages? You're living in 1922. The game has completely changed.
Yeah. And do you know what? Do you know what I would say on it is, it's not, and this is the thing, let's not be against where people are from and who they support. For me, I would rather be against the people that don't support my club correctly, right? Like Edison has one bad game and all of a sudden you're making Edison come off of Twitter because you're sending him slander because you're so focused on winning a Champions League and forget everything else. That guy, or, do you know what? Or any other player in our club does week in, week out because of one important game that you want to brag on Twitter about to other people. Support our club properly. Don't matter where you're from.
Can I say one thing on that whole situation?
Go on, absolutely. And it's relevant because you being from Manchester, born and bred and live right now.
I think the issue is with things like that, it's people that are trying to get not a rise, but need to care about something that doesn't need caring about. And the reason I'm saying that is just because someone's from overseas, from London, from Birmingham, anywhere, like, why should it be an issue if they follow a club? Like that's the bit I don't get. It comes down to, if you follow a club and you want to follow the club, as you said, you follow them correctly and don't be these part-time plastic fans who want to put, make a page on Twitter, Instagram, anything, talking about how the club do this wrong, how the club do that wrong, because that's not following a club. If you're gonna, if you want to critique a club and you want to live the club and you want to do this and do that, it's not. We've spoke about it before. Daps. We talk about it in Madrid. We spoke about it everywhere.
Did we? I was too drunk to remember.
someone could live in Manchester and not go to the games. Yeah. That doesn't mean they're not a City fan. So why should someone that lives in even a different country? It doesn't make a difference. If you watch the club and you want to support the club, no one should tell you twice that you can't support the club.
Nope.
It's entirely up to you.
Yeah. Do you know what? There's actually a guy in here. I'm really quickly scanning to find him. Where is he? I want to put him up and give him a shout out. I was on a stream with him last night, and this is a prime example, right?
As you search for that, I'll let me say something.
Yeah, go on. Yeah. You say something.
The thing with the growth of the club, right? And it's inevitable because the success brings on more fandom, and I totally get the local love and connection to a club and seeing it. Obviously seeing it firsthand on how it is now changing, right? It goes from kind of being a local thing that's loved and cherished, but then you're seeing a lot more people engaging and commenting on a club that was quote unquote more intimate. I did a show last season with a local fan, and we talked about the differences between being the home fan and quote unquote me being the away fan. And our experiences are different, but we support the club because we love the football. We love what the club stands for. And we also love the history of it. Mind you, how we experience it is very different. I think what is just wild is on social media, on all these platforms, people while out. They're not necessarily proper fans, but they just have a platform where they can share their opinion. So we shouldn't all get lumped into that. But
no, 100% you shouldn't. And do you know what? I'll come to that question. Let me start that question. We'll do that later. But Boogerman, I'm trying to. Do you know what, Boogerman? Boogerman. I'm trying to work you out whether I like you or not because you're a Liverpool fan. And 1 minute you'll be really good, next minute you'll be a Liverpool fan. So I'm trying to work you out. I think so. You said something really good there, where you said it's about how much they love the club, and actually for the legacy City fans. Right, and the child. So Chris Oscar, you said I'm supporting from everywhere. I'm saying we have always had support. That fan is wrong. I live in Belfast now and travel to City with my 4 boys. My mother. Bro, that's amazing. Chris. Salute to you. Salute to you as a City fan, especially if you're traveling from Dublin. Massive salute to you. Give every single fan a chance, is what I'm saying. Don't just judge people based on anything. I can tell you, and everything you hear on here, none of us work for any media outlet, right? We are fans. And let me be clear, I'm not here to tell you anything's happening or give you any inside knowledge. We're fans with opinions, and that's all we're doing. Respect everyone's opinions. I'm sure you do. I hope to see you at a game one day. I'm sure I will next season.
Well, here's the thing too, Daps, is that because I frequent in the Twitter spaces at times, right? So I'll listen into some of the comments, and you can hear it with how they talk about their club, that they are new, right? You can hear that they're new fans, that they don't have the history, they don't have the base.
Yeah.
Maybe they've been following the team for the last 2 seasons. So you can hear that. But sometimes the reaction from quote unquote legacy fans is to dismiss.
Yeah.
Or to school in a disrespectful way. No, like sometimes it's like, no, you're a City fan, you're new, you don't know this. Hear me out, hear this out. And that doesn't come across often enough. Sometimes it's more like, you don't know your stuff, get out of here, you're a plastic. But
exactly. Yeah.
Some fans are coming in at different times.
And this is the thing. Like I said at the very beginning about both you guys, I like when I started doing things with Gundolorian, and I can see it because I sit and watch some hosts that go on some channels that are City fans. And I will always remember one who went on the terrace, and we just lost. Or maybe we'd drawn. It was in the Champions League. And the guy came on, and he was apparently a City fan. And now for me, I'm sorry, I don't know where he's from. He wasn't a City fan, because what he said was, Terry, but let's not talk about Man City tonight. Let's talk about that hat-trick Ronaldo got the other day. Oh my God, how sensational. And at that point, I thought, what the fuck? Whether we win, lose or draw, I want to tell you what we did amazingly, or I want to tell you if we lost and we were unlucky, I want to tell you why. Or I don't want to talk about Cristiano fucking Ronaldo with a United fan. I couldn't give a shit. And that's the fans that support players sometimes over. Now, last thing I'll say is, someone said a minute ago about people choosing to support City because they love this club. Mods, can you deal with Katie Price? Because it's definitely not Katie Price. And 1 minute it's Katie Price, next minute it's Harvey, whatever it is. Yeah, deal with them and put them in timeout or whatever, because they're just spamming. Isn't it amazing that we grew up as legacy City fans with no one loving our club? We used to get sympathy. Oh, I like City, I've got a soft spot for them. No one really loved our club. Now we've got people worldwide, globally, that are choosing to support Manchester City because they love everything about our club. The players, the manager, the way the club's run, the football we play. Do you know what? The trophies to win. We're successful. People want to support us. We should celebrate that, not try and push them away. So we'll move back onto football now. So we spoke on Calvin Phillips. What I was going to say is, we are changing, aren't we? You can see with the players that we're buying that we're going to play differently next season.
I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think even down to the bare bones. And let's get to the boring part of if we're changing the way we buy and sell players. It's not an issue. City need to change. And listen, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because we've said for years and years we need to sort of change how we do things to maybe win more trophies, whether that be the Champions League. Me right now, if we're going to change things, it's going to better the club. It's not an issue. Do you know what I mean? Selling these young kids. Guardiola's done it for years now, where we've tried it with these young lads and everyone kicks off. There was a comment before said we need to implement more youngsters into the team. That's not necessarily always the thing. It's not about implementing youngsters. The Guardiola, he knows what's good. We've seen it with Foden. We've seen it with Palmer. The odd occasional time we've seen it with McAtee when he's come on. I think people jump on the fact we buy these big names. It's because these big names want to come to us. Do you know what I mean? We've seen people, from who have turned down. We can only read into it a bit. Grealish, Phillips, these players that apparently turned down other clubs to come play for City. It's because the way we're run. Do you know what I mean? You see the videos on City TV about the lads having a laugh when they go away. You see them having a laugh. It just seems
they're
like
happy.
a good.
They're happy. And they're allowed to be happy. It's not an issue to be happy.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
It's where you hear from across the road, you hear it's dismay.
Pogba's dancing, and everyone's angry. What? You're angry because one of your players is unhappy. Is happy. Well, now he's unhappy and he's left your club, right?
Yeah,
he was happy before, but your fan base has made him unhappy, and I think that's spot on. When you never see City players unhappy, and if they are, we will do our best to keep them if we need them. Bernardo Silva, If not, Ferran Torres, Garcia, spread your wings and fly, because you're not that important to us. Now, I think that was a good point about McAtee and Palmer and the strategy, because I do think the way we're playing is changing slightly. I do think that McAtee and Cole Palmer, there's a plan for them, and they are players that Pep believes in that can be part of the plan. I'm not saying they're going to be 30 games a season, but they're part of the plan. The other thing that I'm noticing, and this is kind of moving on to where we're going, is, and this is where this makes us, in this element, more successful than Liverpool. What we are currently doing is we're bringing down the age of our squad. We are planning for the next 10 years, right? Everything that's going on right now means continued dominance for the next 10 years. We're bringing Cucurella is how old? I think he's about, is he early 20s at best?
Yeah. Is he 20, 21?
Yeah.
22?
We're slowly bringing in Cole Palmer and McAtee, with Alvarez, with Haaland, Young. Next season, Gundogan will be gone. Next season, and we're starting to move to the whole point of this show predominantly. Next season, potentially, if we keep him, which I think we will keep Bernardo Silva, right? I think City will do their absolute best. This isn't a Ferran Torres or Eric Garcia go. This is we need to have a big conversation, and we need to do everything we can to keep you for one more year at least. Yeah. Then do you know what? Okay, we'll let you go. I think that might now be a conversation that Pep is really having, because it's like, listen, the squad of players we've got right now, where we are right now, we think we can achieve bigger things than we've ever achieved in this next season. Bernardo, we need you one more year. Give us one more year, and you know what? We'll make sure that you get that move you really want. And someone said to me, think about maybe he's pushing for this move because his family, he wants to have kids. And I thought that is a fair point. You know what? That is a very fair point, that sometimes there is things bigger than football. A few people saying they think Bernardo will stay. But then that moves us on to next summer. And next summer, Gundogan is gone next year. He's getting that free transfer next summer. If Bernardo does go, that's two similar players, right? There is no doubt for me whatsoever. We know Foden and Grealish might be able to drop a bit deeper. Are they ready to drop a bit deeper right now? I don't think so yet. Maybe they start to transition, but would you all agree next summer we're in for a central midfielder? Central kind of 8. Let's go.
I think as early as January. There'll be things put in place in January to bring someone in.
I agree.
I think there's things already happening. I think it's already happening. I think, look, we all know the Kane money never got spent. We all know Ferran Torres money didn't get spent. But we're also getting little 10s and 12 millions here and there off of other players now. And the business we're doing this transfer window, the books are balancing. The books aren't just balancing. They're almost not balancing. They're falling in a very nice direction, right? But that means we've got a lot of money next summer or January to put into. We're not going to buy a striker. We just bought Alvarez and Haaland, right? We're going to need to spend big to get a world-class central midfielder. And there is one world-class central midfielder that back in January, when I got asked if I could have one player worldwide, who would it be? I said Jude Bellingham. And I said it for a few reasons. Firstly, I said it because I think for his age, his intelligence is unbelievable. When I watch him play for England, he looks more seasoned than most of our other midfielders. He looks more comfortable on the ball. He looks more comfortable in a system. And it's the same. I say it on Saka. The intelligence of some of these young players, for me, is something where you want to, like Saka is one where I don't think he's a finished article yet. I don't think Foden's a finished article yet. But the intelligence of these players is why you want to get them. One of the reasons I want to get Jude is because I don't want him going. If I was Man United right now, if I was Manchester United right now, I would break every single, my back, my legs, my feet, my ankles, but everything to get that player, because he is a player you can build a team around, right? If I was Man United and they need to build a team around something, then there's Liverpool who seem convinced that he's already there.
Yeah. The problem with United is and they can offer £1 billion and he ain't gonna go to United. Because
I think right.
At a certain level, here's my own philosophy on this whole Premier League stuff, right? I've said this, I've said it again and again and again and again. We look at Chelsea, look at United, look at Arsenal this year, or last year, or the year before. They had decent points, right? Ordinarily, in any year, in 82 points, 75 points get you the league. It does, right?
Yeah.
Even in the 30 years, it gets you the league. But then you have this two-headed monster in Klopp and Guardiola, where if you don't get 90 plus points, you're not even smelling the league. I mean, how does the team in Liverpool lose one game all season, gets 97 points and loses the league? How's that possible?
You predicted, did you predict 98 would win the league?
I predict 95 would win the league. Well, I was short by 2.
Oh, wow.
I was short by 2.
Not bad.
Right? But then again, this year again, they get 92 points. We get 93. They lose 2 games, we lose 3, and they don't win the league. So the problem is not Arsenal or United or Tottenham. The problem is when you have the coaches you have running 2 clubs. The levels that you have to get to win the Premier League is 90 plus points. The last person to do that was Conte, and he only had the Premier League running at that point in time. He didn't have Champions League, or he didn't get far, and I think he finished 10th or so. He didn't even have Champions League. So it's. I mean, will Bellingham go to United? Probably not. Would he go to Liverpool? He could. Would he come to City? We'll see.
Right. So sorry, just quickly, there is 120 of you in here. We've got 91 likes. We've set a new rule on the channel that every video has to get 100 likes before it ends. So if that little thumb underneath where we are isn't grey, please just press it. Please. I'm not one of these guys that's going to listen, you fuckers, you need to put, but please just give it a little press and it will help the channel massively. You'll see a boost of people watching it now, and later the love will be shared. Now, before I come to this, someone has just said, and I had a massive debate with a guy called John Moore, who I'm pretty confirmed is a top red, right? Because he was convinced he's going Liverpool. So he said, Jude's on 50k at Dortmund, Liverpool will pay their wages. Bro, it's amazing that he's on 50k at Dortmund. That doesn't mean pay 60k and he comes, because
yeah.
To be honest, I think Bellingham's top list. I don't think it's in the Premier League. I generally, honestly think from the bottom of my heart, he's Modric's replacement. I mean, because there is reason behind it. They missed out on Mbappe. They missed out on Haaland. They are one, if not half a window away from bringing in a massive player. They've got the money. No matter how many times they say it, they win money off winning the Champions League, and they never. They must have had the Mbappe money somewhere. They must have had the Haaland money somewhere.
Oh yeah, 100%.
If they can, it's when we've had the chat. If Real Madrid or Barcelona come knocking, regardless of who you are, it takes not to go.
Yeah, no, it does. Agreed. It does, and definitely in the past. But we've just seen with Haaland that it's not always the case, because we did, and I know Haaland's a special one because obviously the links with the club, and I think the club went very, very, very hard to make sure that Haaland one happened. But and it's good that you started Real Madrid, because I don't want people to think I'm thinking this is now a battle between Liverpool and City.
Yeah,
I don't think it is.
No, he'll be a top draw. He'll be a top draw by many clubs. But
the thing is that Jadon Sancho went for about 80 million, right?
Yeah.
Right. With a lesser ceiling than Jude Bellingham. Would we all agree on that?
Yeah.
That's a hard one, but all right, say the same. But then you also got to say with Jude Bellingham, he is younger. You've also then got to say that I'm very confident when Jude Bellingham is, because I think he said he's given another year to them. When Jude Bellingham, every club's going to want him. This isn't just going to be like, it's going to be Liverpool have said they want him, right? City will want him. I think Haaland will already be. And I use that picture just because I'm doing clickbait. Okay, I do it sometimes, but there is relevance to it. The same way Liverpool say Mbappe's mum supported Liverpool, so he spoke to them, or all of that. Yeah. It is relevant. I'm not saying, oh my God, that means it's happening, but it is relevant, right? But then, and this is back to the 50k. He's on 50k now, so Liverpool will pay that. And anyone that says the Liverpool fan was telling me they reckon offer 80 million, they get Jude Bellingham. I'm like, no, because you're not the only club going in for him. Chelsea will go in for him. City will go in for him. Real Madrid may well go in for him, right? Dortmund will probably be in there. Every club that is in for him is probably going to put an extra 10 million on his price. And then his agent's 100%. Not going to be like, oh yeah, just take an extra 10 grand a week and we'll be fine. He's going to want to be, well, we just saw with Salah. We just saw with Haaland. Haaland was like, I want the same wage that De Bruyne's on. So, if Jude Bellingham has every top club going in for him, he's going to be saying, well, I'm worth this, so I want the same as him. So
he's going for top dollar. There's no doubt about it. And if we look at the pattern the last 3 seasons, Sancho, top money. Haaland, release clause, top money. And now it's going to be the same for Jude. Where he goes, who knows? But many clubs are going to be in for him. I agree with you in terms of the talent. Like I loved how he played against us in the Champions League 2 seasons ago. My eyes were all on him and Haaland and how they played against us, and also how we were, playing against them or trying to manage them. And he's in terms of physical presence, in terms of skill, engine, he looked really good. And that was 2 years ago. He's only gotten better as the season's gone by. So he's going to be a hot commodity for any team to go after. To come through for City as a Gundogan Silva potential replacement, I don't know.
I think the only tip we may have, I know you just mentioned Gundogan then, that could be a homecoming for Gundogan to go back to Dortmund, and Bellingham comes if that is somewhere in it.
It's a stopgap replacement, isn't it? Replacement for him. Yeah.
That comment there about 120 million. I know you're going to shake your head. You're going to think there has been times when City have said we can't spend that money, and I know we have all this money. But there has been countless times when Guardiola's come out and said it, even up to levels of ticking. I know we only see that on social media, but we brought Grealish in 100 million. We've spent a fair bit yet. We've sold people this year. I just can't see if that is the case. If I cannot see City going out and saying, maybe not because of the backlash, because we could sell Bernardo Silva for 80. But I'll be completely honest with you boys. If you said to me, do you want to sell Bernardo Silva and bring in Bellingham for 120 million? I'd say no.
So, no, let me be clear. I agree with you. Listen, I said, I think it was last time we did a pod. Sorry, just want to talk on this one below. The reason why I put that up is the one media outlet that I do trust quite a lot is the Athletic. David Ormstein and is top dollar. He's not Fabrizio Romano. He's not repeating stuff. He sits on probably about 30%, no, about 70% of the stuff and doesn't even release it. And yeah, I know people there, and when they tell me things, or I know people that know people at the Athletic, when they tell me things, it happens, right? So I'm not saying that's guaranteed, because I actually think I don't believe any club would put a value on a player now based on the end of next season, because there's a World Cup in between.
Yeah.
And like, it would be crazy to go 120.
That'll also be a massive thing. That'll be also a massive thing for Bellingham.
Yeah, huge. It's going to be huge, right? Because if he goes, I said this, I actually think, who's the guy that just re-signed for Leipzig? Nkunku. And apparently his release clause is 60 million. And I actually thought that was quite low, considering France have got a World Cup in a couple of months' time. Because there's already talk around his name. I thought, I'd talk around his name more than that, you know? Yeah, do you know, 60 million, France going to the World Cup, and for whatever reason he becomes a starter and has a good World Cup, then PSG would probably pay about 150 million for him. So I think putting 60 million on it would be a bit mad. So let me be clear. I agree with you. I did say on the last show I think it was just dropping the Bernardo Silva thing. Yeah. I said, maybe isn't. I said, is it as big a deal if Bernardo Silva leaves as it is Haaland coming in? Because I think Bernardo Silva is pivotal. You take Bernardo Silva out of this midfield, I question how it works.
Yeah, it'd be a massive.
It will work. It will work. Pep will make it work, but it will be a big deal.
No, it'd be a big miss. I think there's many people, not under him, but that City could lose and replace, or City could lose and it not affect much, rather than losing Bernardo Silva.
Yeah, it's the legs.
I think his engine in midfield is huge, and we would never underestimate what he means to us. But the fact that we have Haaland, which is in my eyes a
10 years
plan B and plan C option against games. Yeah. We would afford to maybe revamp how Foden moves, what Grealish may do to compensate.
Yeah. That's the thing, Gundo. I don't know if we've ever spoke on Grealish and Foden, and the thing that both of them, I think most City fans and a lot of other fans think they can drop deeper over the coming years. I know Foden did last summer actually, and have a good time. But would you agree that they're not ready to replace someone like Bernardo Silva just yet?
Well, that's why Bernardo is going to stay this year. I think he's going to stay one more year, at least one more year, because Phil and Grealish will have to mature into that role. It's no surprise that Phil was playing in the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. He played deeper against Wickham. I think the other game he played a little deeper and he was pinging balls left and right. It's no surprise. He's going to have to mature into that role. It's one of the most important roles for us in the Guardiola system, frankly. The 2-8s takes time. So,
Agreed. Right. 96 in here. We've got lights over 100, but if your light is not lit, please smash it. Gonna end it here because I don't want it. Well, not here. Gonna end it in 5 minutes. Don't want to keep it, but I want to ask. Actually, no. There's 2 questions I starred. Now I need to remember how you go back to the ones that you starred. There we go. Right. So one of them. What moment was better for you, Aguero or Gundo? Right. I'm gonna be on it. Oh, that's a harder question than you even realise. So initially, I was gonna say it's got to be the Aguero moment because I was sorry. It's got to be the Gundo moment for me because I was there, right? And I can tell you by being there, I never felt like I was as close to having a heart attack as I did then, let alone for about 15 minutes of constant heart attack going on. But then I remember the Aguero moment not only was our first, it was also the only that I got to witness with my dad before he passed away. And so for that moment, for that reason alone, it will always be the Aguero moment. Another question, I thought I started, but I didn't, was, and I'm going to put this to you guys. Well, firstly, what's the general consensus? If Sterling goes, do we need to replace him?
Yeah.
Yes, we do. We need
had...
to... Go ahead.
Go on, sorry.
Gundo, third one, just to because I'm.
What? If Sterling goes, do we have to replace him?
Yeah.
No.
It's 2-2. There we go. Right. So why do we need to replace him? Mason, you go first, and we'll go to Vatel.
So big question to both of you that said no. Then, what happened last year with City and squad depth? Just put that out there. City and squad depth probably in the end it paid off slightly. Didn't pay off slightly in the Champions League. And I know you're going to say we've got countless players that can play around. Losing Sterling is still losing an extra player from the squad, which then lowers squad depth more. So not replacing him, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying we've spoke about this. Don't go and bring in these £97 million players that were supposed to be
Neymar. Don't Neymar stay away from our fucking club. Don't come near us.
Nothing like that. If the news that you've all seen with obviously Gnabry, if it is a thing of where it was like 30 million, snap him up. If you're going to pay that much for a player like that, and he's going to go and get him, right now.
Yeah.
If there's one thing I'll always say, Daps, I've said it to everyone, there's nothing wrong with having more squad depth. It killed us in the Champions League. It killed us, and it did. With the Fernandinho playing right back, then having to move to centre back, getting put on beans on toast by Vinicius, it killed us. So bringing in someone, if you're not going to pay over the odds for him, what's the problem?
So
where I come from is I've seen the players come under Pep for the first year. Everyone has that freshman year, that first year jitters or first year acclimation that's needed. We get rid of Sterling. Obviously, Jesus is already out the door. The only senior upfront forward player is Mahrez and Foden. Grealish will be year 2. Holland year 1. Alvarez year 1. That's the depth that we're talking about in terms of taking Pep's instructions, execution, number of games coming fast, quick, and heavy with the congested schedule, World Cup, and obviously, I want us to be going after this third EPL.
Gnabry, I think. Oh, yeah. Do you know what? To retain it, yeah, because that's something only I think United have done, right?
Right.
Yeah, that is relevant as well. Just to get that one over the line as well would be a good.
I think there's. Go ahead.
No. You finish.
I was just going to say, I think there's going to be a high level of pressure pursuing that for a third time. We know what's required to try and repeat, let alone do it for 3 times. So I think if Sterling is gone, I'd like a replacement. I'd like a replacement.
100%.
Yeah. So what I was just going to say quickly, and then I'll let Gundo go. What I was just going to say really quickly is this is why I love doing podcasts, right? And because I have opinions and gut feelings, and then I do podcasts with people, and they say things, and I'm like, yeah. And both of you have just made me go, do you know what? Actually, you're right. And if Nappy's 30 million, I agree with both of you. Gundo, are you gonna make me swing the other way again? Pause.
No, see, for me, Sterling is good, running behind, but think about if we had a clinical finish in front of goal, and so many chances that Sterling has had, i.e. Alvarez, for example. Let's assume Alvarez, as we've watched him, is as clinical as he is playing right now. He finishes it. He doesn't waste chances. The guy, I've watched him now for a year and a half. He is clinical. He is efficient. Okay? If he can score goals and get us those goals, why do I have to replace him? I spent 20 million on a kid from Argentina who is good, can play across the front 3. Am I going to get this guy from Bayern Munich? What's this kid's name? What's the kid's name that I mentioned here now?
Gnabry.
Would I replace him? Maybe. But I have Alvarez. What Alvarez going to do? He's going to sit back. If we want to have Delap play as a second striker for Haaland and have Foden and Grealish on the left, and we have Alvarez, Mahrez on the right with Palmer, why do we need to replace him?
Yeah,
we can rotate.
And that is my view. The other thing for me is I do think that I look back to when we used to play Aguero, Jesus, Mendy, or Sane. Pep would never play Mendy and Sane, right? And I think it's because it was too much. They held the width too much. They needed Mendy to be that guy getting there. And Mendy would, what Mendy was very good at was getting forward, not doing the Cancelo and coming into midfield and controlling the game from midfield. Mendy was good at overlapping and whipping the balls in front post. And it only worked. That Mendy only worked when Aguero was playing because Aguero would know. And I clocked it only, I think, last season, very briefly, a couple of games, Mendy and Aguero played, right? And I noticed, it worked again. Because when it's not them two, it doesn't work. No one else hits that front post. Haaland can hit the front post. Alvarez can hit the front post and be clinical. Cucurella can get down the left and whip the ball in. So that was making me think that's why maybe Pep's thinking, do you know what? We can get rid of Sterling because we're going to change the way we play slightly. That's my thinking to why we wouldn't need to replace him. But the squad depth is relevant. It is definitely very relevant for me.
I just think the amount of games that City play and we've played over the past 5 years, the big thing that squad depth major for is because of injuries. And I know you're saying we could have one, and then potentially, like you said, if it's Foden and Grealish on the left, if someone gets injured in midfield, then Foden has to go in midfield. We've got one winger that can constantly play on the left. So Grealish gets injured. Who have we got?
Do you know? I'm trying to think where it was.
Yeah, but the problem you have is that if you buy another player, right, and you have Alvarez, you have Mahrez, you have Palmer, you have Grealish, you have Foden, you have Delap, you have Haaland, somebody's going to be unhappy. Then what do you do then?
Yeah,
the players going to leave.
Oh, well, this is the thing, though, with the unhappiness with City, I will say, is this is a great thing about Manchester City. And I think Liverpool found it last year a little bit, but then at the end, unfortunately, they fell 2 games short because of it. When you compete in all 4 trophies, even if you are not, let's be clear, I've said this a few times recently, if we try and name City's starters, right, you will probably name 5 players at absolute most, right? Ederson is a starter, right? Say Diaz, is a starter if he's fit generally, but even that one, you're like, oh, right. Rodri is a starter, right? De Bruyne is a starter, and so you can't even say Bernardo Silva is a starter because there's games where he doesn't. And what I'm trying to say is that if you play for Manchester City, right, by the end of the season, you will have played close to 30 games, even if you've not started that many games. You've played 30 games, but guess what? You finished your career. You finished the season with at very least one trophy, on average 2, right? And then all of a sudden, 30 games, a very long run in the Champions League, very long run in most competitions, paid well, and 2 trophies. Or you know what, you can go and be a regular
No one
Arsenal.
say no to that.
Be a regular Arsenal. Play 35 games and then with no trophies. It's a no-brainer. You take.
We just did it with Calvin Phillips.
Is there a problem where we fans are behind the curve in terms of Pep Guardiola's thinking about the game? Hear me out.
I think he's right. Go on.
I think Pep has evolved to the point where it's not just about who's first or who's second. It's about everybody doing their part to make sure we win. So I know in the NFL, for example, I'll bring that in, that you have a squad of 50, 53 or 50 something, right? Everybody gets game time. You swap players and swap. It's about the collective objective of winning the game and winning a championship. This era of I'm first 11, I want guaranteed game time, I think it's dead. You can't win 4 titles or 3 titles in a season and play the World Cup with just 11 players. It just doesn't work. You get injured.
Yeah, I think it's the caliber of player. I think it's the caliber of player that I'd come across with that. Whereas, as we've said about, you mentioned, and obviously we have like maybe 3 or 4 starters. It does come down to 1, fitness, 2, the caliber of player, 3, whether this player, for example, I only use him, I know I've mentioned him or not, but Calvin Phillips. We've done it with him. We've done the same thing with him, where he's a born and bred Leeds fan. His team stayed up, and then he's still been pried away because they've obviously sat there. That these players watch City play. They know when Bernardo Silva sits on the bench, they're sat there thinking, Jesus, how am I going to get in this team if someone like Bernardo Silva sat there? And I think they come knowing that because you're not going to get, like you said, you're not going to play every single game. You're not going to be in the first 11 every single game at a team like City. It's just not. It's not how we play, and I just think that's just the way football is now. Like that's why I think having too many players isn't always a bad thing.
The thing is that we as a club and what we want to accomplish, we do require depth. I think, do we need 2 players at every position? The way we kind of look at things and how everyone does their starting 11, alternate 11, that seems to be about right. I think the amount of games that are going to be played, there's ample games for a player to show and to get on the pitch. The thing about being happy, and this is where the players know it because their agents tell them, it's still a business. It's a football business. And for you to get on the pitch is for you to perform. So the unhappiness, I don't quite take in account, because whether you're, for example, if it was this past season and we had Jesus, Sterling, and Mahrez on the right wing, they all had to battle and show Pep in training why they deserve to be on the pitch. So if Sterling were to remain, I kind of see the same competition required, and I'm thinking the same thing with regards to depth. I'm like, if someone goes down, if someone gets a nick and they're out for 2 weeks, that's where my head goes in terms of, I don't want to be too thin. We're going to be relying on the young guys, which is fair. I'll hold my hands up. I'll be holding hands with all of you and being like, yes, we can do it with the youngsters. Let's see them prove themselves. But I know what Sterling delivers, so it's a little bit of just knowing versus.
The interesting thing with Sterling is, the last point I'm going to make is, I've done a lot of shows kind of with trying to understand the Sterling to Chelsea move.
I think I cracked it. I think I cracked it last night. The Sterling to Chelsea.
I'm still trying to work it out. So
I think I have a theory, which it sounds a little, but I think I have a theory. So Raheem Sterling, Thank you for your time. Thank you for helping us out. But here's the issue. Raheem Sterling, in my opinion, is just an above average player who Pep maximized and coached the hell out of. But the problem with above average players is that they always revert to the mean. And his mean is the last 2 seasons. It's gone back to normal, which is what it was at Liverpool. Missing chances, not being in games, being frustrating on and off the ball. Now you're asking for guaranteed game time when Holland is coming in, who's now going to be the star boy. You are going to go to the background. Now you're asking to leave to go to Chelsea, the same Chelsea who abused you in the stadium at Stamford Bridge a couple of years ago. It just makes no sense.
It doesn't make sense to me.
I'm in disagreement.
Hold on.
We'll go one by one. We'll go one by one.
Right. So I hear you. I would agree that I think Pep has improved Sterling as a player. I will give Sterling credit for being a player that has the ability to listen to managers and be coached. And I think that is huge, right? And I agree with you. He has changed as a player. Pep has taught Sterling, firstly, to believe in himself, I think, especially when he first joined and Sterling's form was so low. He'd been abused by the media he was the scapegoat for England, and Pep came in, took it back to basics, fuck the Pellegrini 2-touch football, do what you do best. Taught him to press better, taught him to press a whole heap better. In fact, like Sterling presses very well. But the key is he taught him how to he still does it, unfortunately, but Pep did the very best to teach Sterling to not overthink things, right? The very best he could, right? Unfortunately, you put Sterling through on a one-on-one, I'm sorry, he's going to overthink it. Correct. People that think Sterling has pace and can run, yes, he can, but you don't want him doing that because if he does that, he overthinks and does. Sterling's biggest quality is that I think Pep has taught him is, you know what? Don't worry. Let the Agueros, the other players, let them make the runs forward, and you take a step back, and you'll find some space, and then you'll find the ball, and you'll find the ball in a position where you just have to put your knee, your foot, your whatever, your head on it, and it goes in, and that is huge.
Sterling's been pressured though. I think Sterling, as one player, we've all done it. Everyone at the game, at home, wherever you are watching the guy play, frustrates you.
Yeah.
Sterling, stats-wise, if we're going to throw that in there, is the best player under Guardiola. Let's throw that out there because it needs 100%. To be said.
Yep. Goals and also his assists are fucking big as well.
Yeah, with everything. The whole Premier League, there's even teams abroad that snap our hand off for Sterling purely because it is don't get me wrong, the tap-ins, the only thing I don't agree with the one thing you said was, Haaland taking the limelight, and the only reason I don't sort of agree with that is purely because Sterling and Haaland it is, but they're very, very different players. And by different players, I mean Sterling got not forced, but Sterling, when Manchester City didn't have a striker, he was that outlet where everyone said, this one-on-one chance Sterling's got into, he should be finishing. This one-on-one chance Sterling got into this time, he should be finishing. Sterling never used to be that player for us when we had Aguero, and he was still racking up numbers.
No. Yeah. That's the way. That's the thing.
I think
we've done the numbers.
People think he's our striker. That's what I think. The only
and
thing
that's
I
what I
will
was
say
going to go to.
is people think he's our out-and-out striker, and he's not. That's not what Sterling is.
Sorry, I actually think Gundo. It's good that Gundo came with that argument, but my actual point. Sorry, my point. Gundo, sorry.
Sure.
Can I just say my point wasn't?
I don't want to forget something. I just didn't want to forget the point that he made.
Say it, then I'll come back. Say it.
I think, and you're right. I know what your name is. He's right that
Mason.
Since if Holland is coming in, you're going to revert back to your normal position, which is going to be on the right.
Yeah.
Right. You should flourish. Because Jesus is going to go. He's no longer going to play. Right. You're only competing now with Mahrez and maybe Alvarez, but you're the big boy. You're the senior leader. You're the leader. You're the captain. Why are you running to Chelsea?
I get that. I do get that point. I just think the only thing I'll say against it is if me and you sat in a room, you put in front of me, here's a list of, let's say, right or left wingers, just anyone in this world, you put that list in front of me, and don't talk to me about Messi because that's obviously in a different bracket.
And
there is one player,
well, by the way.
Yeah, but there is one player that I don't see City replacing over him because I don't, unless you can tell me, I don't see one player out there as an out-and-out right winger City can go and get and replace Sterling with. I just don't see it.
So with with every club, there's a player that is underappreciated. Their time at the club is underappreciated, underrated, right? So if we were to go back and see what Sterling has done at his time at City under Pep, it's been of quality. Of his peak season, he's obviously dropped off, but his peak performances did involve a number 9, did involve a striker.
Yeah.
So when we hold that into account, we understand that he's not the focal guy. I would never say Sterling is the star. We run the team. We run our plays through him. No. But from a system standpoint, he is so key. Now,
and he has got better. He has got. Look,
he has got better.
And on that because we need to go back and actually think about how much him and David Silva used to link up with 1-2s, right? So. You know what? Sterling can actually play ball because him and Silva used to link up, and I mean David Silva used to link up sensationally. So I think that is worth mentioning. Carry on. Sorry,
and the man's 27. It's not like he's an old man, so he still has more football to play. Now I get it from a business standpoint. Contracts are up. If he's asking for similar money to KDB, I understand the impasse that happens within the club. But as a player and what he's meant for the club, that's where I don't diminish or devalue him. What I want to point out now though is because it's a business, where he ends up going is going to be the best from a business standpoint. Even if Chelsea fans murdered him as a rival, because again, he's on the opposite side. They're gonna
the last contract he signs. It could be the last contract he signs as a big club.
For him to go where it's best for business, I get
what you're saying. I think it's his contract now. That's the reason he maybe wants to run to Chelsea, because he's from London, so he's probably going to want to stay in England rather than go to Madrid. Arsenal won't pay him the money. Liverpool 100% won't pay him the money as much as it might be a homecoming. Who's next? Who's next from City to pay you the money? Someone who's just had a massive takeover and can bring in a massive English star. His agent must be sitting there going, mate, Chelsea are at the door. Ignore the fans, ignore this. Look at the free $350 a week they're going to give you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know what? Sorry, I'm just going to. I want to end the stream there because I've got another show in shortly. A Love Island watch along, by the way. Love Island watch along. It's great. It's great fun. Me and Matisse love it because we've agreed it's the one show every day that we don't have to repeat ourselves. Well, I've spoken on Sterling 500 times in the last 24 hours, I think. But I think. The one thing, hold tight, Nick in the cut, hold tight, everyone in the cut as well. Sensational panel today and sensational comments as always. Now, when I first mentioned Sterling, I wasn't coming to the point of view for Sterling. I agree with you, and I've said this from the start. When I'm looking at make it make sense, firstly, there's a Sterling. The City, I actually think, from City's point of view, it makes sense, right? We are the one of the 3 people, City, Chelsea, Liverpool. City, Chelsea, and Sterling. I can understand from City's point of view because they're like, we've been trying. And when I hear, City are paying him no respect by not giving him a new contract. Listen, we've been trying to for 2 years, right? So this isn't, we're not. We've offered him a package that we think is right.
Right.
Rightly so. He's doing the same as Mane and Salah both did. And any player at that age, when they're hitting their peak contract, and you know what, not just footballers, any walk of life, when you get to a certain point where, you know what, this is your last big contract, even if you love the company you're working for, right? You're going to retire soon and you're going to need some money in the bank. So go and get the best possible package for you and your family and your children and everything. Now, that's what I think Sterling is doing, right? And that is why I say he don't need no flight. He don't need no flight to the World Cup. He's there, yeah?
Yeah.
If he stays at City and does play alongside Haaland, we've seen the numbers. His best seasons are playing alongside a number 9. He potentially will get even more money next summer because if he gets those numbers in, the only way he goes to Chelsea is if Chelsea offer him upwards of 320 grand.
Mate,
right? We're probably only offering
300. You hit the nail on the head, mate. This is my argument. Right? My argument is not against Sterling. My argument is, for me, it's a stupid deal to go to Chelsea right now. It's stupid.
And that is the final point.
I'll tell you why. Because you have the World Cup in November, so you got September, October to play games. You got Haaland coming in. You can go on a free next year. Give it one more year.
Yeah, and even if his numbers aren't good at City, I've said this before, there are teams like Arsenal that will still give you what you want now, because the shirt sales.
You can earn a sign-on bonus. You can go to Madrid, Barcelona, whatever you want to go to, on a free. Why are you signing for Chelsea before the World Cup?
Hold tight, the guy making comments on my sexuality. Whatever floats your boat, honey.
Oh my God.
It's probably a bot or something. But the last thing, and this is where it doesn't make sense from Chelsea's point of view right now, that they have a scouting system, right? I'm sure their scouts have looked at his numbers with Aguero and his numbers without Aguero. So ultimately, his numbers, even his first year under Pep, which was a season of transition, Pep hadn't influenced him. He had one of his best seasons with assists, right? His last 2 seasons for goals and assists were his worst. And by the way, I'm not just talking numbers, I'm talking per 90 numbers. Yeah. So anyone says he played less, actually didn't play that much less. It's usually between 45 and 55 games a season for Sterling. His numbers were far less, right? You've just got rid of Lukaku. You've just got rid of Tammy Abraham, right? All right, you've got Brozier coming back in. But, I mean, Chelsea fans I speak to, old time Matisse, is telling me he's not the one. You might get Dembele on the right. You might get Rafinha on the right. Werner will probably go. But you've got wide options. I think Havertz, not Havertz, Pulisic is still there. Ziyech is probably leaving. They've got plenty of wide options. I get why you might want Sterling, because I think Sterling is better than all your other wide options. But guess what? Unless you get a number 9, you don't get the 300. You don't get 300 grand a week Sterling. To get 300 grand a week Sterling, you need a number 9, and you don't have a number 9.
It's the business side. That's what I generally think it is for Chelsea.
Oh, they're doing
that's where it comes in, because just imagine it's but it's the shirt sales, it's the bringing a player or a big English talent in, because arguably in this current moment in time, Sterling is one of the biggest English talents at the minute. So bringing him in, like, I just think from a business point of view, if he does bring in 20 goals a season, if he does, he might not. I feel like bringing him in, if Chelsea, the only thing I can imagine is Chelsea have said you're going to play every game, and that clearly at Sterling's age.
It's the other way. It's the other way. That would make sense.
That was the same. That was the exact same as Neymar to Chelsea. That's just not going to happen.
Oh yeah, I don't think it would happen, but it would make sense. Ultimately, so what I'm saying is Chelsea, they need to unleash the Sterling. You need a number 9 for me, and I could be wrong. Like I said, I could be wrong. I'm wrong a lot of the time. My ex used to tell me that, but I think you need a number 9. Really, really good stream. What I want you all to do, by all 3 of you, if you could send me after this, your Instagram, your Twitter, and your YouTube channel if you have it, so I can put the links in the description so everyone can find you, subscribe to all your stuff, and whatever else. That'd be really good. So I'm trying to remember who it was that told me, and it was in the last 24 hours. But I got told by, I don't want to say it was my good friend, but it might have been my good friend, but it might have been also been someone in the know, and I think it was someone that's in the know. I got told that City are doing a lot more business this window. The most business we have ever done in a transfer window. And I'm pretty certain, the more I think about it, was that side, not a friend. It was actually someone in the know was saying, there's a lot more to come from City. So don't think that it's it's Phillips, Cucurella and Dunn. There's a lot more to happen. And that is why. And that kind of goes back to what Khaldoon said when he did his interview, that it's going to be a big... and we're still waiting on Pep announcement as well, aren't we? That should be coming soon. Yeah. But listen, really, really, really good show. I hope to get all of you guys on a lot more through the summer as we grow. I appreciate all your opinions and your time. Comments, massively appreciate all of you, all the likes, all the views, the mods. Listen, mods, today you could have done a bit of a better job. But you know what? It's Sunday. You might be hanging. So it is what it is. So in 30 minutes, I will be with Matisse and Ransom Bants on Matisse's channel doing a Love Island watch along. It's midnight, Casa and Moore. My hot picks are, just quickly, my hot pick is 100% Danica and India have got competition in summer. She looks spicy as hell. So that's at 9 o'clock on Matisse's channel. If you follow me on Instagram, if you don't already, MCFC Daps, all my links will be on there to the shows. And then at 10:30, I will be on EGTV with Agal, Hassam, Alan, AK, and Mo, doing our kind of what's going on in the world of football and what it means to everyone else. And you know what? We already know it's going to all be about Man United, I think. Or it could be, actually, to end it on a really positive note for all of my lovely Liverpool fans in here, it could be that after 2 weeks of after a month ago, being 2 games away from doing the quads, guess what? Salah signed. You had 2 weeks of meltdown because 1 player left and 3 players came in. Complete meltdown. Apparently, finishing 4th. Salah signed a new contract, and guess what? The fucking quadruple is back on. It's back on. It's everything. Everything is fine. And Jude Bellingham's coming next year. And you know what? Apparently, Klopp might become president of America. Daps,
I'll take him.
Mace, Gundolorian, and Rachel. Love. Catch you soon.
Months.